Between the Sprockets is brought to you by ComCopy, the duplication specialists.
Hi, welcome to Sprockets, the movie and video review show with a bent edge. I'm Robert Ellsworth.
And I'm Madeleine Swain. Tonight we'll be looking at some independent releases, including the new Australian black comedy, Mushrooms.
No, forget about that. Guess who we've got this whopper interview with? Guess who? Guess who?
Ernie Sigley.
No, stupid. Richard Gere.
Oh yeah, cue lots of silly jokes about small furry rodents, huh?
No, this show is finally going to take itself serious. I'm talking about Richard Gere. I can't believe how cool Rick was.
Rick?
Yeah, Margaret's not the only one who gets to interview glamorous stars, you know. And we'll be talking about his new film, First Night, and the role he plays of Lancelot.
Did you really talk to Richard Gere?
Oh, don't be jealous, sweetie. He prefers to talk to guys. Anyway, coming up next, Mushrooms.
She will let you know.
Excuse me.
Do I have a room available at the moment?
Oh, I'm not sure if it's still...
Upstairs, is it?
Yes, sir. Oh, wait!
Very easy to get on with. No fuss, no bother. Quiet as a tomb. You won't even know I'm here.
Excuse me. Oh, hey! Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Come scheme, oh yes, very tasty.
That's my room.
I need a room with a window. It's my condition. Can't stand to be hemmed in.
Well, I'm sorry about your condition. This is my room. Would you kindly remove your...
Writer-director Alan Madden brings us what's been billed as an outrageously inventive comedy about two elderly women with a taste for thievery.
Madden tries to update the classic film comedy Arsenic and Old Lace, but with pretty mixed results. The story concerns two widows, Flo, played by Julia Blake, who's a consummate shoplifter, and Minnie, played by Lynette Curran, who's an agoraphobic.
When a small-time thief called Grub comes to the boarding house with a bag full of money, he takes Flo hostage in a room, while Minnie has to try to get rid of a snooping elderly policeman played by Simon Childers.
He's all that remains of a once thriving commercial empire. Part of my training in here used to be quite irregular. Every time a truck lost its load, we'd call around to see Albert and Jim. Were always happy to assist us with our inquiries, weren't they, Minnie? And now, since the lads have had all their pawn tickets redeemed at once, well, nothing left but junk.
Ah, well, we're looking for this man, Mrs. Halloran, name of Grub. Seen him?
Come on, Minnie, look a little harder.
Ah, some of these will almost be collector's pieces, I suppose. I mean, the right man would go out of his way to find a piece like that. Does it work?
Nothing in here works.
Well, I'm sure all she needs is a little tender, loving care. Soon get her to light up.
It would take skill and a certain amount of patience.
But she'd respond well. And be worth the effort.
Better off with a new one, less mucking about.
Oh, no, give me the tried and true any day.
You'd have receipts, Minnie, before Detective Sergeant Instep makes an offer.
Sound exciting? Well, it isn't, I'm afraid. Sergeant Instep, the policeman, decides to start flirting with Minnie, and then he decides to rent a room in the boarding house so that he can get closer to her.
Meanwhile, Grub drunkenly falls asleep in his room and is accidentally asphyxiated by a broken-down heater.
Enough about the plot. Suffice to say, it involves lots of deep freeze work and some scenes that make eating row look like a Sunday school picnic. But we don't want to tell you any more about it because you might do a grub on us as well and fall asleep.
You're right. The dismemberment scenes are the only things worth watching in this film, I thought. It tries to cover similar ground as recent black comedies such as Shallow Grave, but it lacks that film's originality and humour.
This is Alan Madden's debut feature since leaving film school 7 years ago, apparently. Now, I don't know what he's been doing in the meantime, but judging by the dialogue in this movie...
He obviously needed to work a little bit more on the script.
Yeah, sorry, Al.
Oh, he's dead, Flo. Oh, Nelson's not in my room. He's asleep, that's all. Come on, don't be so silly. Come on, wake up.
I know dead. I've seen dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's just lying there, still. He's not moving. On the bed. Dead. Dead. On your bed, Flo. He's dead. On your bed. Just like Albert. On his back. That's a lovely dress, Flo.
Your Jim gave it to me.
I knew.
Yes, I suppose. I knew he wouldn't keep it from you. But I need it, you see, and it made me feel alive again, and Albert wouldn't have bought it. Well, not then he wouldn't anyway, and it was a lovely dress, lovely.
And you look lovely in it.
Well, thank you, Minnie. Ruined now.
Oh, it's been so long since there's been a man in this house.
Simon Chilvers doesn't come out of it too badly. He has some very nice scenes digging the roses, but Julia Blake and Lynette Curran try just that bit too hard to compensate for the weak script and the unconvincing dialogue. I'm afraid the cooks here just can't save this turkey.
The plot seems to be one long, lame excuse for the joke at the end of the film.
And don't worry, we're not going to reveal that. And on the positive side, yes, there is one, I thought the relationship between the three leads had some really nice twists and turns, and the photography was okay.
Well, I like the two female leads, but apart from that, I thought it was all pretty mediocre.
I must say that all the meat stuff was totally revolting, even for non-vegetarians, I'm sure. But for me, the stewing and the squashing and the grinding and the mincing really made my stomach turn.
Harry! Dinner! Say his dishes.
Does that heater work up in my room?
We've been meaning to get that fixed.
Don't give it another thought. I'll have a go at it. Save you a few bob.
For a film that's meant to be a comedy, I didn't laugh very much, so I'm going to give this film a 4.
I tried to like it, but it didn't really do much for me either, I must admit, so I'm only going to give it a 5 myself. Coming up next, Pink Possums, Red Squirrel.
Red Squirrel is one of the striking, quirky films that could only be made in a Latin country.
Winner of 22 International Film Awards, Red Squirrel is a surreal psychological thriller with a twist.
Abandoned by his lover, Joda, played by Nancho Nova, decides to end it all one night and hurl himself over a bridge.
But before he can muster the courage to do it, a motorbike comes crashing off the bridge and hurls onto the sand below.
Yes, Joda decides to run down to the beach and finds out that the driver of the motorcycle is actually a voluptuous and very seductive female played by Emma Suarez.
The girl is only slightly harmed physically, but she has no idea and no memory of who she is or how she got there.
Joda decides to pretend that he is her lover and steals her away from the hospital, taking her to a campsite called, guess, the Red Squirrel.
Tenéis que firmar. Los dos.
Os acompaño.
Vale.
Joda was a member of a rock band called The Flies. He spent 4 years afterwards with his co-member, Ellie, and decided to dedicate a song to her called Elisa.
He gives his new amnesiac friend the name Lisa, but treats her lovingly as if she were Ellie. Sound confusing? Well, it's meant to be, but that's half the fun.
Oh, definitely. It has more twists and turns than an episode of Melrose Place. And it has a great ingenious swipe at machismo and the war between men and women.
It's a bizarre mystery movie which has a central metaphor of woman as a deadly squirrel. Even Hitchcock wasn't that perverse.
Oh, it could have been worse. He could have made her a gerbil.
Se murió en el coche porque en un viaje se quedó dormido. Pero mira, era alemán y ahora quiere repetir porque por lo demás parece que estos alemanes dan muy buen resultado.
The amnesia scenario is used well in this film, milking every bit of menace and mystery it can from the situation.
Yes, writer-director Julio Medem put himself on the map with 1992's Vacaz. He's a consummate filmmaker, and every shot in this is truly hypnotizing.
Yes, the film's like a puzzle, giving us flashes of information which at first seem unrelated, but as the film unravels, it begins to have more significance.
There are allusions to Hitchcock's Vertigo, with some well-judged moments of complicity between the female characters. In fact, Medem questions femininity by design with what he terms the ridicule of virility.
He uses frequent subjective shots to display this.
The perspective always seems to be from a point of view in which men are inevitably excluded.
No lo sé, no me acuerdo. ¿Y a ti qué te gusta que te haga?
Me gusta que me peines con los dedos, que nos metamos mano y que me la chupes. En general me gusta cocinar para ti, lo hago todos los días.
Es que estoy amnésica. Y mi novio me está recordando las cosas agradables.
¿Queréis otra botella de blanco?
Sí, por favor.
¿Y a ti? ¿Qué te gusta?
¿A mí? Bañarme en el pantano. De noche. El agua se llena de manos.
Ten cuidado.
There's an amusing gay subplot involving a gas station attendant and a radio, and for a film steeped in machismo, it's surprisingly gay-friendly.
Yes, it's got a very inventive plot, and I really enjoyed the movie, but I did think it was a little lacking in the sensuality department, especially for a Spanish film where they usually turn up the heat in these type of movies.
Well, I thought it was pretty steamy, and the two leads are pretty sexy.
Yes, definitely. Emma Suarez reminds me of Victoria Abril. She's the type of screen siren that makes men's legs quiver when she walks by.
And Jota is very good as the washed-up singer who manipulates the situation, and I love the rock clip the band makes.
Oh, it's great. It's very 80s Duran Duran. The cinematography soars, and it has a certain Basque feel to it, but sometimes it's a little heavy-handed in the allusions to regional identity and folklore.
I'm going to give it an 8, and in one delirious scene, it takes the vagina dentata to bizarre extremes. Do you remember? And you know, the thing is, I think the Spanish are really good at that type of humour, don't you think?
Yeah, it's got dazzling cinematography and a wonderful script. I give the film about, I would say I'd give it about a 9. Emma Suarez, you definitely wouldn't kick her out of bed. And the film itself works on most levels. The only problem is that Hollywood acquired the remake rights, and you only need to look as far as The Vanishing to see how much they can screw that up.
Yeah, and the original director even directed that film. Yeah. Anyway, coming up next, Sharon and Madeleine take a bite out of eating Raoul.
Open your mouth.
If I do, will you open your legs?
I might do something for you.
Ah,
If you would do something for me, eat that. Dewey, how would you like to unblock Golden Boy?
Love to.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
I can see you are. I bet you thought I was going to run out on you.
Nah, you know a good thing when you see it.
Hey, Mary, they want you down in the kitchen.
Oh, I was just about to give Mr. Baker his high colonic.
What?
Don't worry. I'll do it for you.
Oh, Dewey, would you? But try not to tear anything like you did last time.
Hey!
Don't worry. She's just kidding. Actually, enemas are my specialty.
So what's so great about eating row?
Well, I'll tell you this. The first time I saw this movie, I was having a veritable movie orgy with a couple of friends. This was our fifth one up. It was the middle of the night. We drank a bottle of gin this size. We were well on our way to the land of Nod. Eating Row came on. We all woke up and were riveted from start to finish. Now, if that isn't the sign of a good film, I don't know what is. Let's have a look.
Well, that was easy.
Oh, maybe for you.
Well, watch out for his sword.
This costume is so hot.
Yeah, well, for $400, you could be Humpty Dumpty.
Well, believe me, I'm not complaining. Who is it?
Did you bring the money?
Come on, let me in. What is she supposed to be?
A cartoon mouse.
Man, I hate to see a beautiful woman degraded like that.
Yeah, well, we don't choose these fantasies. They do. Come on, help me get this guy in the bag.
Excuse me.
Well, let's have it, Raoul. How much cash did you get for those 2 stiffs we advanced?
$1,400. That makes your share $700.
Raoul, that's wonderful.
So who directed it?
That old camp codger Paul Bartel, who also plays the lead opposite the truly bizarre Mary Voronov. They play the Blends, who are this very unhip, boring couple who wear matching pajamas and whose main dream in life is to own their own country kitchen restaurant.
Well, that sounds pretty dull so far.
Ah, yes, but then they fall prey to a rip-off artist. With all their savings gone and after many more misfortunes, they decide to raise more money by running sex ads and killing off the pervy swingers, their word, who answer them.
Now that sounds more interesting. Who's your favourite character?
Oh, that's a hard one because everybody is funny in this deliciously back comedy which includes everything from bestiality to cannibalism. But the best character has got to be Doris the Dominatrix. And she gets my vote as queen of this particular screen. Nobody can say, lick my boots, worm, quite like she can.
You look like you need discipline, slave.
I have to go, really. We're having a friend to dinner.
Lick my boot, pig.
Eating Raoul is seriously bad taste and seriously hysterical. If you've never seen it, do yourself a favour and check it out. I'll give it a 10 every time.
Coming up next, First Night.
I was still a boy when I first climbed this hill and saw what was to become my city.
Camelot looks like a wedding cake, and it's as uninspiring as the movie itself.
Wait a minute. Rick was in top form in this movie.
Rick?
Robert's taken a bit of a shine to him after his interview.
You interviewed Richard Gere?
Yeah, I did, and I can't wait. We've got to show the interview. Let's have a look. Rick, can you tell me about your interpretation of Lancelot?
He's a kind of a damaged, emotionally damaged guy whose life hasn't treated too well. He's found his own way of dealing with it. He's kind of a traveling samurai at this point.
Rick, after the fiasco of King David, don't you think it's better you stay away from these period pieces? After all, I don't think your furry friends will really get it.
These kind of mythic connections that people have and the mythic dramas that they have to play out are just as applicable today as they were 2,000 years ago, or 10,000 years ago, or 10,000 years in the future, I'm sure.
Rick, thanks for the interview. I'll catch you later at Tasty. I've just got to make a pit stop. First Night is yet another variation on the cinematic retelling of the epic legend of the Knights of the Round Table and Camelot.
Rick?
Director Jerry Zucker, who also made Ghost, decides to concentrate on the tragic romantic triangle side of the story. Rick plays Lancelot, but this time around he's not the heroic knight of yore.
No, he's not. He's an itinerant knave, skilled in the sword. Unfortunately, he also doesn't have any class. Kind of like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman.
After saving the life of Guinevere, he instantly falls in love with her, but she has been promised to King Arthur, played by Sean Connery.
As she prepares to enter Camelot.
For Arthur, she represents the once-in-a-lifetime chance of love. Unfortunately, I was a little offended by him. I mean, he's like about 90 and she's really like 20 and he had all this makeup. But back to the movie. She also betrays him.
I think the movie could do with a few numbers.
Why did you risk your life for me?
I didn't.
They could have killed you.
I'm not that easy to kill.
Do you know who I am?
Who are you?
Guinevere. I'm the Lady of Lyonesse. Well,
Well, what?
doesn't it please you to know you saved the life of a lady?
Be just as pleased if you were a dairymaid.
A dairymaid couldn't reward you as I can.
The film looks surprisingly bland for a big-budget Hollywood film, don't you think?
It's definitely not as good as Ghost. Mind you, it is almost as funny as the Naked Gun trilogy, which is another set of Zucker classics.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be a comedy. The acting is top-notch. But William Nicholson's screenplay is really laughable. In fact, there's no reason he should have taken the legend of King Arthur and given it a new twist. It just doesn't work.
I disagree. Your friend sucks in this film. Richard Gere is hopeless as Lancelot. He doesn't even try to lose the American accent. And his kissing style, he's got to be one of the worst kisses on the screen.
Oh, vacuum lips. I agree.
I can't believe that that's the most erotic thing in the film. What kind of scene is it? It didn't have one, not even one sex scene with Rick.
Yes, it's pretty lackluster in every department, I thought.
The production design and costumes and the casting all promise much. And even Sean Connery's toupee isn't that noticeable.
Oh, no, shh. We're supposed to be more serious. We shouldn't talk about this thing.
All right, the film stinks.
Yeah, definitely. If you really want to see the quintessential King Arthur film, please go rent John Borman's Excalibur from sometime in the early 80s. Brilliant retelling of the tale, and it's got a hot fuck scene where he gives a tour on this rock and Lancelot and Guinevere, and it's a very wonderful mystic retelling of the legend.
This version doesn't even have a Merlin in it. The closest we get to it is dear Johnny Gielgud, and he looks like he's doing his cameo just in order to qualify for his pension check.
I'm going to give the film a 4, but I did like Julia Ormond and Sean Connery, and I thought they made a good couple despite the outrageous age difference. On the other hand, Richard Gere was terribly miscast, and Ben Cross, my God, he out-hams Tim Roth and Rob Roy.
Ben Cross did look like an old leather queen. Ben, lay off the solariums. Oof, too dark. Anyway, Julia Ormond was exquisite, and Rick did his damnedest to overcome the lackluster direction and bad screenplay. I give the film about a 5.
I give it a 5 as well. Thankfully, it wasn't as violently, gratuitously vile as Braveheart. And I also thought Julia Ormond was rather lovely, and I didn't mind the age difference either, because it reminded me a bit of Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn in Charade. Overall, though, I did laugh quite a lot, and I think I wasn't really supposed to, so let's have one more look.
No, let's not.
All right, you've seen her. Let's go.
No. You have orders to kill me before I've delivered my message.
All right. We'll drag you back.
Jump on! Jump!
Jump! Jump!
Well, that's it. We're out of time for tonight. But make sure you tune in next week for our special French segment, when we might even be coming to you direct from the Rainbow Warrior.
Yes, and tonight we've come to you direct from Aussie Boys on Chapel Street in Melbourne, Australia. Good night, I'm Robert Ellsworth.
And I'm Madeleine Swain. Good night.
Oh, hon, I've got to run. I've got a date with Rick.
I've got a date with anyone.